Hello, it's Tom again. I thought I'd tell you about a recent trip I took this past July. One of the things I love about my Sonex is being able to travel to out-of-state locations for a short weekend getaway. Lake Barkley State Park in Kentucky has an airport right next to the lodge, so my family decided that we should fly and drive down there together. The trip is almost 170 miles and we made stops along the way at Pinckneyville, Harrisburg, and Sturgis. The weather that weekend was beautiful, with partly cloudy skies and temperatures in the upper 70s. Mark and I got to the airport around 9 o'clock Friday morning and were greeted by clear blue skies. After pre-flighting the plane and packing our lunch, we checked the weather before we took off.
Once again in St. Louis, it was mostly sunny. The temperature was 67 degrees, and the wind was northwest at 13 miles an hour, gusting to 21. And the pressure was 30.00 inches and rising. The dew point was 54, giving us relative humidity of 63%.
The takeoff out of our airport was a bit tricky, with a strong crosswind, but we made it off the ground without any trouble. Our first stop was Pinckneyville, Illinois for a quick fill-up. We met with my best friend Mike Blanky and his mother Janet to fly down together to the lake. Mike is a very good friend that I've known for a long time. He's also responsible for naming my plane the Silver Bullet. As we made it to Harrisburg for our second stop on the trip, the winds really picked up out of the northwest. The tailwind gave us a fantastic ground speed, but made landing a real challenge. Mark and I stretched our legs and pulled out the cooler for a much-deserved snack in their new FBO. Flying into Sturgis, Kentucky, we noticed a huge gathering of motorcycles just outside of the airport at the fairgrounds. Afterwards, we learned it was the Little Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, and they had about 15,000 bikes show up. As we approached the airport, we flew over Lake Barkley and got a view of the marina and the lodge that we were going to be staying at. The state park operates the airport and is very friendly to pilots. They will even come to pick you up in the shuttle for lunch or an overnight stay. Landing at Lake Barkley was again tricky, with a strong 14-knot northwest crosswind gusting to 20. I like to stay on one side of the center line to prevent my tail wheel from catching, because there is a crack that runs the entire length of the runway. After we touched down, we were greeted by the rest of the family and a few officers in the Army Airborne from nearby Fort Campbell. They were out practicing with one of their Black Hawk helicopters and a C-130 airplane. Originally, we were going to rent a boat with the Blanky family for the weekend, but the temperatures were unseasonably cool, so we decided to take some scenic flights around the lake during the morning. Lake Barkley and Kentucky Lake are some of the largest man-made lakes in the United States. Around the two lakes are a lot of hiking trails, boat ramps, campgrounds, and lodges. Flying has got to be one of the best ways to take in the wonderful scenery. After dinner, my wife and I decided to go back to the airport and check on my airplane just to make sure everything was okay. Walking around, we saw quite a few deer out on the runway. Sunday morning arrived and it was finally time to go home. When we got to the airport, we were greeted by some low clouds and light winds. For the return trip, Mark and my wife Carolyn drove back to St. Charles, and my other son John flew along with me. As we headed north to Illinois, the cloudy skies quickly turned to sunnier ones, which made for a very pleasant flight home. The weekend finally came to a close as we approached my home airport. I had an absolutely great time relaxing with my family and friends at Lake Barkley. If you still have a long way to go with your project, I hope my short weekend adventure inspires you to complete it and take a trip of your own someday.